Hi, I'm JP.
And I'm Adam.
I've never seen Lost.
I have.
I'm told that it's good.
I liked it.
I'm told that it made sense. Sort of. But we're watching it out of order.
So it definitely won't make sense.
But it might still be good. Since we won't expect it to make sense, we'll still be able to appreciate each episode on its own merits as a 1-hour story.
Sometimes 2 or 3.
As opposed to just a fraction of an ongoing, sprawling, and increasingly complex tangle of relationships, personal stories, mysteries, mythologies, experiments, social dynamics, unnatural disasters, unanswered questions, and hot tropical hookups.
Are you okay?
I'm not sure.
Because you lost me a little bit there at the end.
Well, good, because I've been lost since the beginning. We're lost on Lost.
Welcome, everybody, to Lost on Lost. I am Adam Busher, and I'm joined, as always, by JP Russell.
That's me. Just add those noises in post, please.
No.
Okay.
Before we get started, I want to do some listener mail. I've got one here. Ted from Burbank, subject line, helping you find the growth your project is missing. Are you not seeing the growth you were hoping for when you kicked off this project last spring? Do you feel like you could use a boost? Well, we're ready to collaborate with you. Come on down to Lowe's this Labor Day for 20% off select mulches and fertilizers from our garden selection. Turns out this is a coupon for Labor Day sale at Lowe's, not a podcast thing.
I was just at Lowe's yesterday, you son of a bitch.
And on top of this embarrassing little non sequitur, the coupon expired on September 6th.
All right, let's just stop recording.
Today we're talking about the Glass Ballerina, second episode of season 3 and the 47th episode overall. Our centric characters are everyone's favorite on again, off again, will they, won't they, couple Jin and Sun Quan.
Hell yeah.
Glass Ballerina takes place on the 69th day after the crash of Oceanic 815. Nice. JP.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a recap? Or do
I
you
would
want
love to do a
it?
recap. Let's do a recap.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
The Glass Ballerina starts strong with the whole Glass Ballerina thing, but then really tapers off quickly. We get to see a lot of that sweet, sweet Sun and Jin backstory that we all love. We find out things like Sun has a dad. Who knew? Meanwhile, on the island, Saeed desperately wants to find Jack. Hey, what about Kate and Sawyer? Shut up, you only Jack. Speaking of uncool hand Luke, oh, Kate, how do I objectify thee? Let me count the gross ways. And finally, Ben has the thought that every guy in his 40s has. I should get a boat. we have a guest.
What?
Again. Yeah. The wonderfully talented Jacob Oller. Hey. Welcome to the show, Jacob.
Hey, everybody.
Jacob, so good to have you on the show.
Jacob, we love having people on the podcast that are infinitely more qualified to do this than us. You are a writer for Paste Magazine. Or is writer not the correct term? You are
writer editor.
Yes,
I would say.
Right. I don't know things.
They don't let you on the salary unless you're an editor.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they don't give you the health insurance otherwise.
Very good. So, Jacob, tell us a little bit about your background with Lost. Are you a fan? Is this your first episode?
It's not my first episode. My first episode of Lost ever, I actually watched in grad school because I was in a class all about TV and time travel. I got a media studies master's. It's nothing.
That's better than JP and I's post-secondary degrees.
Right. Yeah,
Don't
infinitely
diminish
better.
that hard work, even though it was about television.
Yeah. It was about television and it was about time travel. And so the episode I saw was about the guy who wanted Penny's boat or whatever.
Desmond. Oh God.
So I'd never seen any Lost. And so I just watched that episode and my takeaway was this show sucks. This doesn't make any sense. These characters are awful. This guy is a jerk. This woman is insane for sticking around waiing for him for so long.
I can't wait to meet Penny.
and so my idea of this show was like, okay, well, there's a lot of weird time travel. There are a bunch of like maybe British people trying to maybe I don't know, have relationships across both time and space. And so I was like, this is like a Doctor Who kind of show.
Sure.
And so my partner's really into it, and so she was really doing a lot of rewatches of the show, and so I would catch like snippets, and it would be that annoying thing where I'd be like, who is that? Who's that? What are they doing here?
Yeah.
And then I would do that for like the entire couple seasons that she was doing it. So I have a familiarity with people's faces, but I know nothing of names and backstories. And if I have little gems of insight, it is because I got them through osmosis.
Well, that's actually perfect. We will have you back for that episode, the one that you watched.
I think I know what episode you're talking about. I think it's The Constant, and I believe it's from season 5. But I'll try and look into it.
It's the one where I said it sucked. Everybody got mad at me. So if that helps you,
because if I'm remembering right, and I'm not, it's 100% possible that I'm not. But The Constant, I'm pretty sure, has a lot to do with time travel, and most like Losties say it's one of the best episodes of the show.
Well, my defense on that is if you make me watch just the payoff of something in isolation, it's not
going to be good.
Well, it's always going to be bad is the thing. Yeah. You can watch the intro of anything in isolation and you can at least understand what's happening. But if you just watch the middle of Avengers Endgame, you're going to be like, this makes no sense. People are insane. This made $1 billion from a bunch of morons. But if you'd watch all of these other things, you have a little context.
Adam, quick. Go into the side chat.
Okay,
here we're going. He cracked our algorithm. I think we're in trouble. We got to fucking bail on this.
Let's just time travel back to the beginning of this podcast and not do it.
I've called the podcast police on your premise.
Oh, we're all going to jail.
Oh, no.
iTunes is on their way right now.
Well, Jacob, what are you watching nowadays? Since Lost wasn't really in your bag back in the day. What do you watch currently for fun, like serialized, episodic, comedy, drama? Like, where are you at?
Well, just for TV, I just finished reading the really good behind the scenes / recap Sopranos book called The Soprano Sessions. So it's Alan Sepinwall and Matt Zoller-Seitz, who were the 2 critics that worked for the New Jersey Star Ledger during the original run of The Sopranos, and so they were their hometown newspaper. And it's them going back through and doing a full series rewatch and doing recaps for every single episode. And then at the end, they have like 7 conversations with the showrunner.
Cool.
Looking
Very
back
cool.
on things. Phenomenal book. But yeah, for fun, I watch mostly bad horror movies on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
You write about stuff for a living, so you hate film and television.
Yeah,
so.
So for work, I'm like, I have to watch stuff I think about. And so for not work, I say, well, let's watch this old Giallo film where it has like a 17-word title and everybody's topless.
Give me the name of that film.
Well, yeah, Jacob, so good to have you on the show. We're very excited to see what you thought about the Glass Ballerina. You guys want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. The Glass Ballerina originally aired on October 11th, 2006. It was written by Jeff Pinkner and Drew Goddard and directed by Paul Edwards. Pinkner was the co-showrunner of Fringe through its 4th season and also co-wrote The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Cool. Drew Goddard was a co-executive producer on Lost until its 4th season, before moving on to shows like Netflix's Daredevil and movies like The Martian and Cloverfield. And Paul Edwards, he directed the 3rd most episodes of Lost, behind Jack Bender and Stephen Williams.
Yeah.
That's who's behind the stick on this episode, The Glass Ballerina. So let's talk about what actually happened in The Glass Ballerina.
First, I want to talk about what you guys think The Glass Ballerina means.
Man,
I think it means.
I didn't read the chapter for this episode, teacher.
Well, I think it. How about you here?
Why don't you start, Jacob?
We'll do the professor thing while I give you a sort of a leading question hint, where I'm like. For the rest of the Sun story, it does seem like it's a loss of innocence for her as a character. Now, is this crashed ballerina the first time we see Sun, even like little baby Sun, do a bad thing?
In the podcast,
here on the show, certainly.
Because she does seem, as far as I know about the character, she's like super cool.
Yeah.
And Jen is like the real asshole.
Yeah.
And so giving her a little bit at the beginning where it's like, look at this little thing where she just cold-bloodedly gets somebody fired.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah.
And then it escalates from there.
Yeah, I don't know about the significance of the ballerina itself, but like her smashing it and then just pinning it on the maid who gets hacked by Mr. Pake, it's just like, that is some ice cold shit.
Well, I mean, if you can't blame the help, who can you blame? There's definitely something there about, both with the Glass Ballerina incident, dad covers up for her with, and we'll get into it, her infidelity. Her dad covers up for it. Now, then when we get to sort of like the third act of the episode, she's alone basically on the boat, and she's got to make a decision.
It's the fifth act, JP. Television is 5 acts.
I don't. Anyways, she's got to stand up for herself, so she's
the intro, and then they have the middle, and then they have 3 conclusions,
and then there's always an ad for cigarettes in the middle, and,
right? Yeah. But and then there's a missing piece at the very end,
right?
Yeah, and there's felt bottom chessboards. But anyways, no, I don't know. It's something about the loss of innocence or fragility or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I think it also, going off what you're saying, where you're like, well, if you can't blame the help, there is some class stuff going on here, because Sun and her dad are either extremely rich or just rich enough to have her husband employed.
Oh yeah, right. And yeah, like that's what I was in there too. I was like, okay, we didn't. This is this our first Sun Jin? Oh no, we had a Sun Jin a while back, but
and found.
Yeah, but so we knew from that at least that Sun did come from means, but this episode makes it look like it's not just like means. It's like she's flush. Like, I mean,
but even money can't buy your dad not busting in on you,
right?
In flagrante.
Well, it's interesting because in the previous episode we see that Sun comes from money, from a very affluent background, but then Jin comes from basically nothing, and he pulls a complete 180 from being basically a doorman at a hotel to now fucking Liam Neeson from Taken.
Yeah, or a maid fired for a smashing she didn't commit, an unfairly fired maid.
Yeah. So there's definitely some, I don't know if it's answered in the show or if we're just missing it because it's out of order because we're stupid and doing it this way. But definitely Jin has gone through some transformations recently.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's how the episode opens, and like I got to not to jump ahead, but like I got to the end of the episode, and I totally forgot that that first scene happened. I didn't remember it until just now.
And you were like, why do they call it this? What does the Glass Ballerina mean?
And then I was like, oh yeah, Jacob was talking about Glass Ballerina. That makes sense. It's a good thing I wrote that down. Then let's just talk about the flashbacks right now. Then, sure. So the next flashback thing that happens is
I started writing in all caps.
We fast forward from the Glass Ballerina episode to probably 20 years later.
This son of a bitch. This
you talking
son
about
of
Bezos?
Yes.
Yeah. Guess who's back again?
I'm telling you right now. Oh, so you
guys know who Jeff Bezos is. I thought he was a new addition.
No.
Yeah, Jay Lee. So we cut to the shot where his son's just like laying in a hotel bed, obviously like some, it's a nooner, or it's a, afternoon delight, like the sun's up, like.
Oh, sun's up.
But then popping up from behind her is Jay Lee.
Not very handsome Daniel Day Kim. Instead, it is the earthworm from James and the Giant Peach.
This dude is a major piece of shit. We know him from And Found, the other Jin and Sun.
And he has the worst date that has ever happened in the history of dating, and he's such a piece of shit, and he just burns Sun so bad, and now she's fucking him?
Yeah.
Excuse me. No, how? In what universe?
Because at the end of And Found, we you, JP and I, we know that she like actually liked him. She was entertaining the idea of like hooking up with him or dating him or whatever, and he was like, nah, I'm fucking out of here. And like we were mad at him then for bailing on Queen of the Universe Sun. And now I'm mad at him again because he continues to be a piece of shit.
Do not care for him at all. And neither does her dad.
Who just strolls in to whatever hotel or whatever setting you said it was in.
I think
he got some business in there.
I think he owns the hotel.
Probably.
Because we don't know. This is another instance of the show not telling us his name. There's two styles of talking about or introducing us to characters in Lost. Either they say their name 1,000 times to the point where it's annoying, or they never say it and we don't know what to call them.
Right.
His name's Mr. Pake. It's Sutton's dad. But yeah, just like strolls in like he owns the place, because maybe he does.
Well, either that or you very much get the feeling throughout this episode that he's someone powerful enough where he knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter where it's happening.
He's a lot of places where you're like, why are you here? Are you everywhere? Why are you keeping tabs on this?
Yeah. Like, yeah, did somebody at the hotel security like snitch to him like, hey, we saw your daughter and fucking Jeff Bezos.
Mr. Pake, it's that rich guy you warned us about is back. That smooth Lothario.
Sneaking into a room with your daughter.
Then the next flashback we see Jin is talking to Mr. Pake.
Yes.
Jin works for Mr. Pake, and Mr. Pake's like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. You gotta go rough somebody up. You gotta deliver a message. Doesn't tell him what the message is, just, hey, somebody's disrespecting our family.
Which is interesting that you open the episode, Jacob, telling us about your experience with the Sopranos, because like throughout
and they're like, hey, I need you to put an end to this. And you're like, do you mean what I think you mean? And he's like, go put an end to this. It's like, bad for the family, for me, for you.
Your shame is my shame. Like, my shame is your shame. Like,
but it's interesting though, because we still don't know what Jin does.
We see pretty soon what Jin does.
So
what that Jin do?
Jacob, have you ever been in a fist fight?
No.
Okay, neither have I. Busher, have you been in a fist fight?
Yes.
Okay. Less than 5 fist fights?
Yeah, I've been in exactly a fist fight.
Okay, so my point is, like, if someone just came to any one of us and said, I need you to go just fuck this guy up, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I just open up the door, and here's this guy, now I gotta whoop his ass. Most people haven't been in fist fights.
Yeah.
So myself and that other guy would be on about the same playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Jin and Jay are not on the same playing field. Jin fucking knocks the dust off of this guy.
Well, yeah, Jin's primary strategy seems to be, I'm going to throw this guy as many times as he'll let me, and he'll let me throw him infinite times. I'll throw him through anything.
Right.
What do you got? I'll throw him into it.
That was not a fist fight. That was like a suplex contest from like WrestleMania. Just like, Jin just tossing him around like wet garbage.
He folded faster than a lawn chair, and Jin has been up to something. I don't know if this is the typical, if he's some sort of enforcer for Sun's dad or what's going on, but from being a bellhop to now,
well, he's too handsome to be like a boxer, so you have to imagine he's like a more refined assassin kind of person.
Right. Well, and later on, he handles the pistol that Saeed gives him with a level of confidence.
Oh, yeah, he does that thing, and Saeed is like, do you know what kind of gun that? He's like, let me check all these, the parts. Okay, yep, loaded, good.
Well, that 10 minutes of the episode, I have like a page and a half of notes on.
Same. Yep, yeah, we'll get to that.
We jumped past, this happened before Jin fucks Jay up. Jin comes home to Sun, to have dinner. Sun, during this little scene where they're having dinner, like Sun's obviously guilt-ridden by recently having been caught by her dad stepping out. You can tell that she doesn't necessarily know if she, is she going to tell Jin what's going on? Like, there's tension here.
Right? Does he know?
Yeah, because he comes home all fucked up about something, and she's like, "Oh my god, did you talk to my dad?"
Yeah.
It becomes clear during this conversation, at least to me, that Sun doesn't like the fact that Jin works for Mr. Pake.
Right.
And Jin says flat out right here, like, I love you and I'm married to you, and this is what it takes for me to be married to you. Like, I know you don't, like, this was the only way that we were going to be together is by me being this for Mr. Pake, whatever this is.
Right. Well, and he talks about how this is the first time he called him son.
Yeah.
Like his son.
And you're like, that sucks. That's too bad. aren't y'all married? Like,
just saying, if Jin needs a new dad, he's going to get one once he gets to the island in the form of a one Johnny Lock.
Never heard of him.
Shut up. Anyways,
at the end of the scene, Sun takes and sort of grabs Jay's offer to run away and offers it to Jin. She's like, we could take off. We could start a new life. We could leave. And he's like, all right, give me a fucking break. Like, Mr. Peck will find me wherever we go. But the question I was asking myself is, like, did she offer to run away with Jin because she loves Jin, or because she doesn't want Jin to fucking murder Jay?
Right.
I think this is another example. I mean, I think this whole setup in terms of flashback and present is showing Sun's growth of like running away from problems and then facing them head on.
Yeah, exactly.
Sun being like, oh, I didn't break that, the maid did it, or like, oh, I didn't sleep with that guy, kill him. Or like, well, let's run away so no one will ever find out about this thing.
Right. Don't do what my dad says. Not because I'm concerned with the relationship that you have with my dad, because I don't want you to kill the fucking thumb that I'm flying.
Right. Well, because she doesn't know that there's going to be like this level of violence. I think there's even that level of denial to it.
Oh yeah.
But there's still that level of like, well, I don't want this problem to be my problem. I would like this to be done and gone.
So from there, then, he goes, we go to the
fucking
pay-per-view in the hallway
with him.
Yeah, it's just 3 for 3, thrown through a wall, thrown through a table. There was one more, right?
Something like that.
He
through the windshield.
I don't think Jin technically threw it through the windshield.
It was an emotional throw.
Yeah. But I love little action set pieces like this in broadcast television. Jin comes up and he bangs his head against the door. He takes the key and opens the door. He's like, all right, we're gonna continue this in the room so nobody sees us. But
get your purse, we're leaving.
There was a moment that it was just a brief shot, but he grabs Jay by the collar or the front of his shirt and picks him up and just literally just picks him up one-handed up off the ground and throws him into the room through that like wooden thing. And I was just like, that is some phenomenal stunt work. I love
doesn't
to
he
see
then
stuff
immediately
like
go into a glass table?
Yeah, and he picks him up and puts him through the table too.
I was wondering if you guys knew if they put stunt people in, or I couldn't tell if it was just the falls or if Daniel Day Kim was actually doing all the chucking.
The guy going through the table was 100%. I mean, like, but going through the things was 100% the stunt guy. But Daniel Day Kim could have done the other stuff. So we assume that Jin was probably supposed to kill Jay here, but he doesn't do that. He's like, no, leave, never come back. The way he phrased it to me was really
passing on that idea that Sun gave to him. So it's the guy hearing his own idea back to him like, oh, what?
Well, and also like he knows that he's done the wrong thing. And Sun's dad was pressuring him. Again, we have a character that is feeling like they've done the wrong thing because they haven't murdered someone, which is like the 4th or 5th time that has come up in this show. Like, I'm doing the wrong thing by not committing manslaughter, which is such an odd theme that keeps coming up in this fucking show.
It's also pretty crazy for a random group of plane passengers that murder keeps coming up.
Like, if you had said it was Con Air, I'd believe you, but like, this was Oceanic Flight 815. When are you going
to start your Con Air podcast?
You assume that we already had.
So Jin lets him off the hook and he goes out to his car and he's trying to like collect himself post beating. And all Jin's really got to do is catch his breath because he didn't take a fucking lick.
Right. And then he thinks to himself, boy, that sure sounds like a body flying through the air.
It is, a distinctive noise.
Pow.
Bam! And my note is just, what are the fucking odds? Like,
was it planned? He's like, you beat me up? Well, get ready to go to the body shop.
Take that. Yeah, I'm gonna get my revenge. Daniel Day Kim did a little thing as he got out of the car. As he stepped out of the car, he like looked down at the chest of his shirt and brushed it off, the glass shattering into the car. And that's just like,
gotta look good.
That's a nice little character thing.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Also cold, man. Everyone in the show is so cold as hell.
Cold. Yep. In Jay's hand is the pearl necklace that he was going to give Sun, and
he's trying to give it to Jen.
Look, if you're gonna make me leave the country, here, give this to your wife for me.
Yeah.
Frankly, I don't care. I hate Jay so goddamn much. I'm glad that he's gone.
The end of the flashback storyline is Sun at Jay's funeral. And the only real thing of importance here is that Mr. Paik rolls up again and he's just like, oh, hey, I knew that guy's dad. That's why I'm here. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. People, all you were doing was fucking him, and I told you not to do that anymore. So why did you come to this funeral? And she's like, are you going to tell Jin? And he's like, it's not my place to do so. Implying, of course, like, you should tell him. You should do it if anybody's going to tell him.
It is crazy that this dude who ordered this guy killed is like, why don't you show a little moral backbone?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, all right, Dad.
Everybody's got a line, I guess. So that's a flashback. Let's talk about Island Time, shall we?
Oh, Island
Now is
Time.
when I'm going to get confused.
Let's get on Island
flashback.
Time.
That flashback made a lot of sense to me at a self-contained level. Now we're going to start getting to the Wild West here.
Oh God.
We'll walk you through it. It's okay.
Island Time kicks off with Sun, Jin, and Saeed on a sailboat, an artisan sailboat. They're
Hanging out.
They're trying to pick up Jack, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, and not Kate and Sawyer, because everyone just wants Jack's Anglo penis. That's all they fucking care about. And where's Jack? We need to light a fire for Jack. Jack. Fucking what about everybody else?
Oh man, Jin wants to bail. He does not like being on this little adventure. And he's really controlling and possessive to Sun again.
Sun just refers to him as my husband.
Yeah.
She doesn't say Jin, you know.
And what he straight up says is like, you shouldn't disagree with me, like, ever. Like, she's like, I think she said it later, but she's like, I'm sorry for disagreeing with you in front of Saeed. And he's like, you should never disagree with me, period.
Yeah. It's interesting because so many guests that we've had that have watched the show and that are fans of Lost have expressed how much they love the Sun Jin dynamic, and they're many people have said that they're their favorite couple on the show,
myself included.
Right, exactly. And a lot of what we've seen is Jin being very domineering, and it's like, I know that there's a turn someplace, but we haven't exactly seen that yet.
Yeah,
you gotta lay the baseline so you can have the growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
which is
go ahead.
all the other characters. I feel like I didn't get those strong emotional vibes, because even if he's like domineering and she's like, this sucks, and kind of going against him and kind of acting out in certain ways, you still get that there's something really deep there.
Yeah.
Every other relationship in this episode is like super shallow in comparison, because even if it's unhealthy, you still super feel that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and we start to see that turn right at the end of the episode, or their last scene together, where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see this, but we're in season 3 and he's still very much being a dick.
Yeah. The last thing of import that we find out in this first scene is that Sun also knows how to sail, which is a super rich girl thing to know how to do. Cut to Jack in the glass box.
We pouting, Jack pouting
in the very corner, sitting on his ass.
World's largest cell. It's the biggest prison cell ever.
They're like, well, we put you in this big soundproof room. It's one of those rooms where you can hear your own blood in your head, and you've chosen to sit over here. I don't know why.
Juliet brings him some chow, soup, crackers, a bottle of water, Dharma water. There was one very small thing in here which immediately made me fall in love with Juliet all over again. And it's because she brought a tray of soup and crackers. And normally when you get soup at a diner, they give you the little 2-pack of saltines. Juliet brought him in a whole sleeve, which is good for because I don't know about you guys, but I like more than 2 crackers with my soup
or bread. I want like 4 pieces of bread.
Yeah, and I feel like a greedy fuck for like, can you bring me some more 2 packs of saltines, please? I usually just make do. So she brought him a whole sleeve. So
she gets it.
Yep, she
fucking gets it.
That's simple. The others have a decoy village, which Saeed has found to sail the sailboat. The fact that they have a sailboat is a surprise to Ben.
I want that boat.
Dude, Michael Emerson
His eyes couldn't get any bigger or wetter about that boat.
I know, but we've gushed over him so many times. In terms of an actor, like, he always understands the assignment. Like, that moment where he's just staring off into nothing, and Dead Lady is just like, what are we doing? I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, he's thinking. You know he's already rehearsing 57 different things in his head because he's this conniving, he's Brainiac. He doesn't have physical strength. He just has this intellect where he will be one step ahead of you every time. And I love that because you can just see the gears turning.
I wonder if he's good at chess. Yeah, basically Ben he hits Colleen with the "I want that sailboat," and we learn that the others do A-team missions too.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to put together a team? An hour. Do it.
Here we go.
An hour?
Right?
Like, how big is this island?
Right? How far apart are these people
there
spread out?
There are 3 of y'all in this room.
You guys are a team right now.
Yeah.
Like, obviously don't take Ben, but like...
Do I take Jack? No, he's the prisoner. God damn it. How many times do I have to explain this to you?
Cut to Sawyer and Kate in the cages. Sawyer's figured out
now these guys really seem like prisoners. Jackson like some sort of sci-fi like where you got like one-sided glass looking at him and they're like, well, he's not breaking yet. These guys are in these guys are in like zoo animal cages.
Straight up zoo animal cages. Like Sawyer has figured out how to use the mechanism that an animal would have fed themselves with. Pickett, they don't tell us these people's names again, but Pickett and Tom and a couple other guys come out to take Kate and Sawyer to a work camp.
There's like a big boy. There's a blonde.
Speaking of Con Air, MC Gainey. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Love this
there
dude.
He is.
He's a recurring other. We'll see him quite a bit more throughout the show, but that's Tom. And then, Danny Pickett is the dickhead with the taser. We see a quick moment here where Colleen is taking her boat team out and she tells Danny that they're going to get a boat. And Sawyer overhears the part about the boat, and he's all like, and then we come back to the boat. This is the part I was talking about, where they had the discussion about her disagreeing with him. Jin still isn't comfortable with Sun's like newfound independence. However, she is still very much devoted to him, despite his sort of like domineering and sort of possessive personality.
Saeed has a rifle now.
Fuck yeah.
We've known that the survivors have some pistols, but now he's got an SKS, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got a rifle and a bunch of awkwardness for being this third wheel. He's not having a good time on this mission.
Well, we find out a little bit later in the episode that this was probably supposed to be a Saeed solo mission, because he says later, "I'm sorry for bringing you guys along," but we'll get to it. Cut back from the boat to the work camp where Sawyer and Kate are working. Kate doesn't want to work in her dress. Danny says take it off. Sawyer briefly agrees with Danny, but then sides with Kate and says, "How dare you?" after giving Kate like this little fucking sideways, awkward, gross.
He just can't not be fucking gross.
Yeah, he seems like the action bad. You know how every action movie there's like the action hero and then there's the action like bad guy, or like the action sidekick that turns out to be a bad guy. He's that character where he's always making little quips and undressing people with his eyes, and you're like, that guy's gonna get shot later and it's gonna be great.
And again, we live in a very different world today in 2021 than when the show was made, and I could see how like, he's eyeing her up and down, and then he gives the "how dare you say that, buckaroo," or whatever, and I can see how that's played for comedy, but in 2021 that is all lost. How he's just looking her up and down and undressing her with his eyes, and I'm like,
it's like, do you want to join the bad guys? Fucking you piece of shit. Like, you're just acting like such a piece of shit right now.
Yeah, I'm also very confused why it's a strange and mysterious organization that says, "Come out of your weird cages, come break some rocks." What?
Do you want to?
You're gonna make these 2 people. You're gonna have like 4 people guard 2 people breaking rocks. What do you guys do all day?
Also, who are these other people doing the rock duty?
How low in the pecking order do you have to be in the others organization to be doing the same work as the prisoners?
We have to have some broken rocks. That's what we use to power our generator.
We played a round of what are the others building several episodes ago. Let's do another quick round of what are the others building.
Christ.
Jacob, first to answer. What are the others building?
Bags of gravel.
Good answer, JP.
Pizza Ranch.
Pizza Ranch. The answer is, let me take a look at the card here, open up the envelope. We still have no fucking idea.
It reminds me of that Monty Python bit where they're talking about what floats, and like very small rocks. They're going to build a boat out of very small rocks.
The next thing that happens on the island, we're still at the work camp. And just more of Sawyer just casually sexually harassing Kate. He's just perving on the dish hard, and Danny yells at him for doing it, but not because he's eyeballing her, but because he's not working. Like, if Sawyer managed to do this while he was working, Danny would be okay with it, which is fucking par for the course.
Yeah.
Forest gremlin. The forest, and this is where we get the forest gremlin.
This is the you were gonna say burning questions. This is the most absurd part of the episode.
It's wild.
Kate is hammering the hell out of some rocks, and this forest nymph shows up, asks her riddles 3, and then vanishes. It's insane.
And one of the riddles is where did you get that dress? Like,
it's hey, are you in cages? Yeah. Do you know this guy? No. You're wearing my dress. That's not a question. Looks good. And you're like, can anyone leave me alone about how I look in this dress for a second?
What if she would have said, where'd you get that dress? Forever 21. Would she have said, oh, I have the same dress? Like,
yeah. And then she would have fucking vanished into thin air. Rumpelstiltskin vanquished.
We could both get fucking tased if they catch me talking to you.
Could
I
you
need to
shut
ask
up?
you this third very important question. Where'd you get that dress?
Oh my God.
Hey. Where'd you get that dress? What? Help me!
I'm breaking rocks with a pickaxe.
I'm in jail. Why? I'm lost on an island. Why do I keep running into new strangers and new factions of strangers?
One thing that's like kind of like a little beyond the big mystery of who is this forest creature, there's a little mini mystery in there. Who's Carl? Like, we know on the podcast who Carl is. We met him in a different episode.
Well, I don't care about Carl,
but like, she's like, "Where's my boyfriend Carl?" It's like, why? Get the fuck out of here.
I don't fucking know. There's
a lot of problems with Alex's priorities, but I get,
if I find him, who should I say is calling? I met a nomad today.
Dear diary, I was at the work camp. I met a very interesting young woman.
Scratch it into the dirt in the bottom of her cell.
Back on the boat, we're building a big fire. Sun.
I love Saeed's line about, of course the dock is safe. Because I'm here and I have a gun and I'm fucking Saeed, dude. Like.
Sun questions Saeed. She's like, "What are you doing? You're building a way too big of a fire." And they have a little back and forth, which was kind of interesting. And this will end up being an audio drop. But Sun says to him, well, "Why are you lying to me?" And then Saeed comes back with, "What would you know about lying?"
Oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good. I love Saeed so much.
Now, we know everybody has secrets on the show, but does, like, Sun have a rep with Saeed for being a liar? Like, does he know, like, is there something we missed about Sun, like, getting a reputation for keeping things from other people?
I don't even think we need to see him necessarily know that someone's lying or subverting the truth or hiding things. Like, I just assume Saeed probably knows it. Like, his head's always on a swivel.
It's a can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Right. All right. Yeah. I like that. And so they cut to it. It's like, well, yeah, they both sort of like silently agree. It's like, all right, we're going to drop the facade. And Saeed confesses to her that he's setting up an ambush, not a rescue.
And it's so, oh my God, again, like, no, I'm going to leave 2 alive. Why 2? Because I'm going to need 1 to get the truth out of the other. And I'm
yeah, at that point, you sort of piece together, I see. This man is a bad man. Or maybe not a capital B bad man, but he's a bad man.
Yes,
he's a bad,
that's exactly
bad man.
It. Yes, he's very good at being bad.
The next time we cut back to the boat the next time we cut back to the island just continues this boat stuff. Jin has figured it out, what they're up to. He says, he's like, I want a gun. And he says to Sun that he knows English better than she thinks he does. Saeed says, can you handle this? It's an automatic. He hands it to her. And apparently you can prove to a person that you know how to handle a pistol just by removing the magazine, putting it back in, and then racking the slide.
Well, now, hold on. I have something to say about that.
Okay.
So that's a Sig M11.
Okay.
This is going to be the segment where JP talks about firearms. So a Sig M11, he removes the magazine, puts it back in, racks a slide, and the sound person did the right thing because there's another noise, because that was one of the 2 pistols that was in the running for the U.S. Army pistol contract back in the late 80s or early 90s, and it has a decocker built into it. And the audio person did the decocker noise, and Jin also like decocked it. So that's not something that would be intuitive to somebody that doesn't know that type of pistol, because that function isn't on most semi-auto pistols.
So it does show that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, like, my note about this was, like, if you handed me any other gun besides that, I know how to remove the magazine from a pistol and rack the slide.
Absolutely.
That does not prove that I know how to operate a pistol very well.
I've played video games. I can figure it out.
Right. So, like, I can do that part, but all this stuff that you just... So, yeah, obviously, like, knowing what that pistol is, like, Saeed knowing what that pistol is, Jin knowing how to use that pistol with all its extra complicated stuff. Like, and I had one other minor little, just, I think, a gaff here. Saeed, as he's handing the pistol, he's like, do you know how to handle this? It's an automatic. It's like, that's not an automatic. It's a semi-automatic.
No, yep. Thank you.
That'd be crazy if it was an automatic.
Right.
What? This is an automatic? This is a crazy island.
Pew, 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 pew. So Jin, despite being lied to, he's in on the ambush. He's like, we're here. Let's just fucking do it. He also says during this little thing, he says to Sun that he knows she betrayed him. I don't know how he knows. It's a weird time to talk about it.
He speaks English. I mean,
he at least understands English, like,
or understands it. Yeah, more. I mean, but it's been 69 days.
Nice.
He's gonna have picked up on something.
2 months?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just imagining, well, if he kept this secret from his wife, who does speak both English and Korean, then it's not like he's using her to be able to even translate, because having that resource would be able to let you learn it. So he's just like picking it up, which just seems wild.
There's a whole chunk of the show that we haven't seen the 2 months prior to this, where he is like constantly palling around with Michael and Sawyer.
Duolingo.
Yeah, and like, so like there are scenes, we've seen a couple of scenes here and there of like of Michael and Sawyer and Jin, the 3 of them, like very like having very broken English and broken English conversations with Jin, and he has picked up several, like, you know, he knows doctor, he knows help, he knows, like, he picked up on a lot of words during the raft building process. He knows no way conversational, but
he knows loud English, because whenever he clearly didn't understand, they would just say the same thing louder at him, like you're supposed to do. So.
Oh, you don't speak English? Do you speak loud? Do you speak loud English?
Oh, that helped. Yes, thank you.
The one last thing that happens here in this scene is that Saeed says, both Saeed and Jin are like, son, go back to the boat. Like, we got it. Saeed says, there's a gun in the boat if you need it. And she says this fucking, like, end of the world type, like, or end of, like, my life type shit.
If they get past you, that means my husband is dead. And I won't care anymore.
Which is like, wait, aren't you pregnant?
Right, exactly.
Wait a second.
You have plenty to live for.
They keep saying like, you and me and number 3, and you're like, oh, okay, all right. And then she's like, well, yeah, if Jin's dead, fuck it, I don't care, I'll burn it all down. Like, he's an asshole.
It's her. It's the comparison of the two is like us observing this relationship between the two of them. It's like Jin's kind of a dick to you, and her devotion to him only seems to grow through the episode. Like,
I don't even know what y'all are up to. You're trying to get this guy. He's stuck in a nice situation where he gets soup and crackers, which is more than these guys eat the entire time we see them. They don't need. He didn't need saving. Let these two die. You know how to sail. Take that boat and leave.
Yeah.
Have a nice time.
You got 3 guns at that point.
3 guns in a sailboat. That's how I plan on retiring.
That's how they got off Gilligan's Island.
God. We come back to the work camp. Juliet gives Sawyer some water. He sassily pours it on the ground.
I enjoyed that.
That was crazy. Sawyer doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
No, well, and
as
it's
a human being,
because he turns to Kate, and I was like, oh, maybe this will be a moment where Sawyer can be like, oh, I should have thought before I dumped that out. Kate's obviously tired. She's been busting big rocks into little rocks all day. I should have saved that water and given it to her.
Right.
This is a moment for me to maybe not be so impulsive. And no. He's not thinking that. He's thinking, boy, I sure would like to sexually assault someone.
It's been about 45 minutes since I've done so. I'm due.
So when he gets that water, before we transition to that, which is a terrible thing, but when he gets that water, they shoot it from such an angle, or they frame it from such a perspective where you think, is Sawyer gonna pour that water all over himself and like look at Kate like, oh yeah, you like this? Because it just seems like in character from what we've seen about this guy, where he's just like, I'm always trying to look at some butts and try to get everybody agitated about it.
It would have been a perfect opportunity for one of those visual bits where we, the audience, get Sawyer pouring water on himself in slow motion and rubbing his hair and rubbing his chest, and then it cuts back to normal speed, what everybody around him is seeing.
Yeah, well, then the taser really would have been effective.
And yeah, JP, you made a good point, and Jacob, you sort of reinforced that, like. Sawyer pouring out the water is like a defiance of his captors kind of thing. And Jacob, you're like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, what's happening? And yeah, then come back. Like, something that would have been equally defiant is him taking the canteen that Juliet gave him and then giving it to Kate to drink.
Yeah.
Like, that would have done the same. It would have executed the same exact thing, even though he needs water too. What's it called? Maslow's hierarchy
of needs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his needs is smooch, butts, breaking rocks,
Wrangler jeans.
Water's all the way at the top. Yeah.
No, I think truck nuts is at the top.
Truck nuts is at the top, which he can never get.
So yeah, then we get into like one of the worst things that happens in the episode. He just marches over there and fucking plants one on her. Danny's not happy and comes over to fight him, and there's another little mini set piece here. Sawyer just fights these dudes off, like 3 or 4 of them.
Really good fight again. Yeah, and fight coordinators putting in the hours.
And this is what we've talked about this in the past too. Is prisoner detention procedures. Don't keep weapons near people that you have under lock and key, because if they get their hands on it, the tables are turned. Sawyer gets his hands on that rifle.
Yeah, that's why guard towers exist.
Maybe that's what they're building. Maybe they're building a guard tower.
That's why evil. Oh yeah, out of pebbles.
Oh no!
This is my Flintstones guard tower. Fucking stupid. But like, it's such a crazy where it's like, okay, well, these guys obviously don't know what they're doing. Yeah. They are ramshackle keeping this together, and then the woman who was with the wet eyes earlier. She shows up out of nowhere with a gun, and she's like, actually, hello, I'm here. Yeah. I'm in charge.
I had a canteen and a pistol, FYI.
Yeah.
Turns out. Juliet. We cut back to the boat. The ambush is set. Apparently they're in a bad position for sure, because the others get onto the sailboat with no fucking problem.
It's like a SWAT team from an action movie in the 80s where just like a bunch of boots just hit the ground from like right over the camera. It's
right over the boat on a long dock where you're like, what were you guys watching? I guess you were looking through binoculars in the middle of the night, so obviously you weren't watching the path to the boat where you put the pregnant lady.
You weren't seeing anything.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You're like, God, why did we build this fire so big? I can't see shit. It's so bright.
Sun is in the boat, and she hears the footsteps or whatever, so she goes and gets the gun, and she turns around, and Colleen is there.
Yeah.
And she's like, and they have this like exchange. She's like, don't shoot me. I'm not the enemy. You know, if you shoot me, I'll be the enemy and all this stuff. And it's like, this is classic enemy shit to say. We're not the enemy. Yeah. The bad guys never think they're bad.
And yeah, Sun gives her every opportunity. She's like, keep your voice down. Don't come near me. And she fucking drops her, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Ample warning. And
right in the gut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, and this is one of the things too that you see in television all the time is like, don't come any closer or I'll shoot. You're not gonna shoot me. I know you. You're not gonna shoot me. And normally they would, in any other TV show, they'd be right, and they'd get close and they'd take the gun away, and it's like, it's okay. I know you couldn't pull the trigger. You're not a killer. This is like when she actually shot her, I was like, oh shit, all right, yeah.
Again, the show rewards people for being violent. And
this is growth. This is Sun solving her own problem. She's only got myself into this situation.
Yeah. Me and my trusty gun are going to get me out of this.
But then I don't understand the logistics of this boat because the woman comes down. Yeah. She's like, I know everything about you. And I'm like, I guess this is just a thing that their organization. Yeah. They know everything, I guess.
They know everything.
But then like behind her, you can almost see, I feel like you almost see boots and legs of other people. Or at least stairs where you're like, well, they have to be close because a gunshot just rang out. And then Jin's like, well, actually, I'm topside and I got out. Or Sun. Sun is like, I'm out of here. Bye.
Yeah. She manages to get out. And Tom,
terrible SWAT team.
Yeah, Tom takes. Well, and the thing about it too is like we remember from the beginning of the episode, the big take was the boat itself. So I think like when Tom took a couple of shots at her, he wasn't even necessarily trying to kill her. He was just like trying to scare her. Like I think for Tom, I remember a little bit about Tom. Tom, from my memory, he's not as big of a piece of shit as you would think he would be, just by nature of his allegiance to the others. He's kind of human. So like I don't think Tom wanted to kill Sun there. He was just like, if he could scare her off, that's good for my boat. Yeah, that's good for him.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm imagining is that people who have kidnapped. I keep Sawyer and the other guy, Jack, separated in my mind as one is an action hero and one is like a spy hero.
Yeah, all right.
So like Jack's like a spy guy because he's like locked up and he's not saying anything. But I'm thinking their whole group, they are the colonizers who've come in and these guys just like live here. I'm imagining everybody else, they just live here and they're like, who are you? Get out of here.
Get your boat out of here.
Yeah.
Put them to work. They take their stuff. They say,
that's kind of it. Like, I mean, even the little bit we've run into the others, like when we've seen Ethan and stuff like that, like they regard the survivors from A15. They're fucking trespassers. They don't belong here.
They are hostiles.
Yeah. So Sun manages to escape this strange boat. Oh man. And this was like partially heartbreaking to me, like when Jin dives into the water. And it's like, because like in those brief moments where he's shrieking after her, he's 100% sure she's drowned or dead or still on the boat or whatever.
Right.
And then when she calls back to him, that like I literally felt like a little bit of relief. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the relationship is really fraught at the moment, at least they're still together.
Jin's a man of extremes. You know, he's a strong silent type, and then he'll do like a big show of affection. Like
the shouting that they do back and forth to one another is very full of emotion and very, very well acted.
And they get back onto the beach. And then Saeed's just like, as they're drying off, he's like, well, we better get going. We've got a long walk ahead of us.
Well, before that, though, he actually apologizes, which is not something someone does in this show very much.
Yeah.
Again, like the Saeed ambush was dumb. We only had 2 guns.
Yeah. He's one of the only adults in the room, as per usual.
Yep.
So
no doubt. Cut back to the cages. Even despite having the fuck beat out of him, Sawyer's got jokes. He's got that classic defense mechanism, trying to make everybody laugh.
Oh, and Kate's being all like, "Ooh, remember how we kissed?" I'm like, this sucks, dude. Stop. He's a creep.
I couldn't help myself. That's not an okay mindset to have.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You taste like strawberries. Stop.
The strawberry thing only made me think of Lord of the Rings when I'm like, he doesn't remember what strawberries taste like. They've been on this island for how long? No way. This guy's gonna be like, yeah, you taste like strawberries?
You taste like
I ate fucking sand and no water for lunch today.
You taste like somebody who hasn't brushed their teeth in 69 days.
Nice.
So yeah, the weird sexual bullshit aside, like I got some real Bonnie and Clyde vibes from them, because then he actually was like, oh, there was a reason behind my, he was kind of casing the guards and taking sort of stock of the security situation around.
And I very much like that. It's like, no, I need to let my ass get kicked so I understand when we do decide to break out of here, who's got to be a priority for us to take out first.
Yeah. We cut from there back to Jack, who we haven't seen in a while.
I forgot he was in the episode.
He's still in that
refreshing.
corner.
Yeah.
Well, he's halfway through that pack of saltines.
Ben comes in to talk to him, brings his own little folding chair, and he gives him the courtesy of an honest introduction. My name is Ben Linus, and I lived on this island my whole life.
I do think that it's interesting because he says, I've been on this island my whole life, but that is not true.
Right.
He was born off the island, but I think in Ben's mind that might be true because he probably just omits his life
before the island.
The island.
You're talking about this is my other life that I've started.
I buy that.
Right.
My life as Ben Linus started here.
He's been on the island since he was a very young child, but he definitely has memories pre-island.
Yeah. He's been on the island most of his life, for sure.
Right. That time, I don't think that that's necessarily a lie, but his brain has turned that into the truth and that he did not exist before he was on the island.
I buy that.
All I know about this guy is he loves to think, he loves keeping up on baseball and pop culture, and he wants a boat.
And he loves TV media cart day in class, because I saw that cart come in and I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, teachers got a
they
movie.
just have that around.
We find out before he wheels in the cart that Walt and Michael got to go home.
Yeah, what the fuck?
So I guess we're not going to be seeing them, hypothetically, for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't know who those guys were, but I thought that was also... I filed everything these are the facts that prove that I know about the outside world. All that stuff was lies. So I'm like, this is lies, and then he's going to have a little bookend of truth to hook this dork.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of dorks, when he was finally like, your plane crashed here 69 days ago, I out loud to myself in my room said nice, because I'm an idiot.
Same. Yep.
Ben gives him the facts, the straight facts. He knows how they got here, how long they've been here. They have contact with the outside world, and he can prove it. W got reelected.
And Jack surprisingly does not show any emotion to this fact, which makes me like him even less.
Right? He shouldn't even have let Ben finish. Just like, what? Are you fucking kidding me?
God damn it, really?
God, I know Kerry wasn't the best candidate that we could have run, but fucking he finally gets up and stops pouting and starts ranting. Like, yeah, that would have moved him a couple of pluses in the column for Jack. But that's it. That's the end of the episode. Now, this would be the part of the podcast where we would normally head into the end segments of the show, but we're going to take a quick sojourn over to a missing piece of the puzzle. Lost missing pieces. These were 13 little mini episodes that aired on, if I'm remembering right, telephones. They were specifically made, they called them at the time mobisodes, because they were designed to...
Mobisodes?
Yeah. Because the future was going to be watching short...
Designed by Moby. Obviously.
Jacob, in your professional career, do you write a lot of mobisodes?
Typically, in my career, if there is something even an inch outside of the formal parameters I set for myself, whether it be TV or movies, I do not cover it. I'll take any excuse not to. So if it is a webisode, if it is a non-feature length movie, I jump ship quick.
I did hear that the next 4 Avatar movies are going to be mobisodes. So
well, that's because they're Mobius strips. They never they fold into each other infinitely.
The inside is the outside, right?
Well, yeah, I think mobisode is actually a Na'vi word.
We're gonna talk real quick about the Lost Missing Pieces episode. This is the third one. Missing Pieces number 3, King of the Castle, and this was directed by Jack Bender, who is one of the in-house directors for Lost, and written by Brian K. Vaughan. Yeah, Jack and Ben are playing chess at a house. And they talk about Ben is expressing regret that Jack's leaving. Says that he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that he holds up his end of the bargain to get him off the island. Says that the island might not let him. It's not entirely under his control. Jack doesn't necessarily believe him or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of tit for tat, and he's like, I'm going to miss playing against someone with so much skill, and it's like, oh yeah, master tactician Jack, we've seen fucking sit around and refuse soup.
All the other people just want to play mousetrap, and I can't get anyone to play chess with me.
They don't even know how far a pawn goes on the first turn.
Actually, Jacob, we were talking about this a little bit before the recording. You went to a chess tournament, correct, in elementary school?
Yeah, so I played a lot of chess when I was a little kid. I like read some books, and I had a similar chess set to the one they play on, where your guys have a little felt bottom, which is great when you're in an auditorium and you don't want a bunch of click-clacking and you don't want to like dent your board. But on a sweaty island seems like the worst texture that you could put anywhere.
Any comments on the chess game itself?
So they don't show much of the chess until the very last sort of shot where the end of the conversation is happening. They're wrapping things up, and they're also wrapping up the game, where he's like, "Oh, you almost got me, Jack," and then he castles, which it doesn't. Not only does it not seem like a legal move in that situation, because I think his castle had already moved at that point, and you're not allowed to use a castle that's already moved. He says it like he's just beaten him, right? When in fact, like if he was in check or checkmate, like I don't think you can do that either.
No,
and
you're not doing anything. Like he was in check, so like
you're like stalling. That's like a defensive move. I mean, I don't know, man.
It just proves that he's the king of the castle, not Jack.
Oh.
So that's it. That's the Glass Ballerina and King of the Castle. Let's talk about, did we like it? Was it good? Jacob, what do you think? The Glass Ballerina, did you like it? Was it good?
I didn't care for a lot of the present day stuff. It felt like filler, like necessary filler, where the writers had probably broken out this story already, and they had the premiere episode where they said, well, we need some exciting stuff in here to get people ready for, like, oh, Lost is back, yay. And then we have stuff later down the line. But after that initial stuff, I'm sure they had, well, we need to get group A to point B and sort of all these other logistical challenges where they said, okay, well, let's write some small beats to go along with that.
Sure.
And not big story moments.
Sure.
So the island stuff in particular felt pretty boring, except for the end of the boat stuff, like the botched ambush. Was kind of interesting, but the real meat of the episode comes in the flashback, which I thought was really nice and elegantly done. Like, it doesn't hold your hand too much. It gives you just what you need to know, gives you some solid action, and then sends you on your way.
Yeah.
I thought the stuff was good, but otherwise, nah.
That's fair.
It's a solid
fair.
From Jacob. What do you say, JP?
I definitely agree that this is absolutely a filler episode. However, we've encountered some filler episodes before. And this is definitely better filler than we have encountered. You know, so the fight scenes were pretty good. The backstory stuff was decent. The little moment where, you know, Jin says, I don't know what I would do without you, or something to that effect. Like, I really felt that. And I was like, I've had several strong emotional connections to some Sun and Jin stuff and some Saeed stuff throughout this episode. So was it my favorite episode? No, but I'll just give it a lazy thumbs up.
And they're hugging in the middle of the ocean? That seems hard to do.
Oh my god. Adam, did you like it?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I think I would probably just echo most of what Jacob said. I found the flashback stuff very entertaining, very solidly done. The island stuff a little bit all over the place. I really liked the action in the episode. I thought the fights that were done both at the work camp and in the hotel were pretty awesome. And that's kind of all I really needed from the show outside of the Jin and Sun flashback stuff. So it sounds like we're pretty middle of the road about it.
Mixed positive.
Yeah. Let's do the MVP. Lost MVP, your favorite character of the episode. Just this 45 minutes, minus anything you might know from your post-secondary education. Jacob, who's your Lost MVP for the episode? Number one for the Glass Ballerina.
My number one for the Glass Ballerina is the magical creature that lives in the forest. I was enthralled by her David Lynchian presence. She came from behind the dumpster, behind the restaurant, wandered through the woods, and posed the most compelling questions, gave us the most mystery. She was doing a lot of work.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Alex is legit one of my favorite side characters. I think.
A total mystery.
Yeah, it's so good. Adam, MVP.
Oddly enough, despite all of his sexist and misogynist behavior, I'm going to give it to Sawyer for the episode.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
And it's strictly because he is in his element as a captive. He is a criminal. He is a bad dude. And he's literally flourishing by being under lock and key. It gives him something to actually use his bullshit, awful skill set.
He has the perfect personality to be on a chain gang. He had the like, get back to work, boss. Like
he does seem like he is a model prisoner.
Exactly. Like
by that I mean he is a model who has been in prison.
Yeah. If they did a remake of Cool Hand Luke, I would 100% watch Josh Holloway as Dragline.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
JP MVP.
I'm going to give this to two people equally. I'm giving it to Sun and Jin. Right. Because when Jin jumps in the water and Sun falls off the boat and they meet and they hug, I just wrote swimming is exhausting. And they managed to also hug it out in the middle of the ocean. If somebody tried to hug me in an above ground pool, I would drown.
I'm glad you wrote that down. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that sounds so hard.
Yeah.
You're just in a gunfight. The adrenaline's probably getting them both there.
They've been on a tropical island for 69 nice days. And they have the energy still to do Olympic style swimming, and it's fantastic.
Saeed just stays on the beach. He didn't even get in the water.
He's like, I fucking don't know. There's fucking sharks in there. Get out of here. Fucking idiot. I gotta swim? No.
Nah. Other half of this bit, the Lost Forever, just this 45 minutes, minus your context, your memory, anything, just for the Glass Ballerina. Who should be lost forever, Jacob? Let's hear it.
It's Sawyer. He's trash. He's trash top to bottom. He's bad.
100%.
I thought they were going to shoot him, and I was excited when they tased him. I laughed.
Yeah.
I was hoping there would be some sort of pickaxe combat between him and Evangeline Lilly.
Ooh, yeah.
He should be gone. If it was just Kate dealing with this imprisonment, it would be just as interesting.
Sure.
If it was her having to like learn how to be a prisoner instead of just sitting there while this guy just like looks at her.
Yeah, if it were her trying to plan this escape on her own without just a big tank behind her, that's infinitely more interesting.
Yeah, like having a character have to be like, well, I'm out of my element, I better grow and learn. Instead of this guy being like, I'm back in jail again.
I'm gonna beat my heads against these bars until I win.
So Kate, what we're gonna do is we're gonna find the biggest guy out here and kick his ass. All right, that's how you do it.
Literally.
First you kiss and then you get kicked. This is the plan.
It's rules in any prison. Adam,
the 2004 New York Yankees. Fucking thanks for making every Boston Red Sox fan completely fucking insufferable for the rest of us. God damn you all. Getting reverse swept. Get the fuck out of here.
Should have done George W. Bush in hindsight.
Oh.
If he's in the canon of Lost, I guess he counts, but he's out.
Well, we'll just give him an overarching for the whole series.
Yeah, when
Lost
we get
Forever.
to the final episode, it's like, who's the big Lost Forever? It's W?
The big bad.
Yeah.
JP, who's your Lost MVP or Lost Forever?
Right underneath George Bush is Jay.
The thumb.
Well, I have great news for you.
Right. So, but it's not because of how he has treated Sun. It is because the man doesn't understand accessorizing. Okay, so he has a bald head. Mm-hmm. You need to grow like Adam. You need to have something else. Otherwise, you look like a plain canvas. You need glasses. You need beard. You need a nose ring. You need a mustache. You need something. Otherwise, I just look like I'm looking at Powder from the movie Powder. Yeah. And then he dies, and that is the picture that they have of him at his funeral. It looks like you have a character creator for a video game and you haven't started doing anything yet.
A stripped down Stretch Armstrong.
I was going to say he looks like
a rubber man.
He looks like the template that they start with for all the Guess Who characters.
Yeah, I think the point about glasses is really good because he would be like he'd really have a look going if he had like some thick rimmed glasses.
Exactly, some thick rimmed glasses.
Jacob, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an absolute blast having you. Do you want to do a quick plug for anything?
PaceMagazine.com. Click on everything.
Yeah.
Links, ads. I don't care. Keep us afloat.
if you like movies and television and pop culture stuff, there's some fantastic articles, and I'm not just biased because I know Jacob writes them. They're very, very good articles. Definitely check them out.
For sure.
That's very nice.
So that's That's it for the show, for the episode. If you're trying to be lost with us, please check out our next episode. We'll be watching Season 2, Episode 10, The 23rd Psalm, with a new centric character, the mysterious Mr. Echo.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Gosh, that's a great name.
Love Mr. Echo. Very good.
Easily the best name of a character on the show, and one of the best actors on the show, and I am fucking stoked.
Yeah, he's fucking rock and roll. So, cool. All right, well, thank you for listening to this episode of Lost on Lost.
I'm Adam.
I'm JP.
Do you have any idea?
I'm Jacob. I don't get to go. That's okay. This is fine. I'm just a guest.
Do you have any idea what's going on the show?
No.
Me neither. Lost on Lost is produced and edited by Adam Busher and JP Russell.
Recorded on location in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Los Angeles, California.
Our show is hosted at Podbean. Find us there or wherever you find your podcasts.
Thanks to Danny Schmitz of Lost in a Name for our theme music.
Lostpedia and the community of contributors there.
Random.org for creating the watch order.
Check out our Facebook page, Lost on Lost, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at Lost on Lost 1.
Don't follow those jerks at Lost on Lost 2.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com. If you like what we're getting into here, buy us a coffee at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
That's ko-fi.com/wearelostonlost.